So we're talking about the quality of Masunaga, which is unequaled anywhere, and in particular, the quality of Japanese handmade eyewear. You'll see how this ties in a minute. I want to show you something that just came today. These are Versace's, top of the line, made in Italy, very expensive. So let me show you the Versace. Here it is. Here's the case. Ooh, has gold lettering on the case. I open the case and they give you a little Versace bag with the little Versace name tied down there. Okay. They haven't been adjusted. Actually, neither have the other ones yet. They sit a little wonky on my face. I love the colorway. That's kind of cool. And then on the side, you can see the name Versace. Very, very big letters, you see Versace. Wow. These are expensive, and in fact they are. So here's the story. Versace is a Luxottica brand, and as you know, Luxottica is a multi-billion-dollar Italian company that has purchased a number of different eyewear brands. They purchased Pearl Vision, they purchased Lens Crafters. They even bought up EyeMed, which is vision insurance. They own Sunglass Hut. They own Ray-Ban, Persol. They own Oliver Peoples. Just about every brand that you can probably think of that's not independent handmade eyewear, which is what I do reviews on. What I want to show you is this. Look at the arms. What the hell is going on with the temple arms? This is brand new. It just came. They're not used or returned or anything else. They just came. It's apparently right out of the factory. On the arm, it says made in Italy. Italy is probably the second best place in the world for handcrafted eyewear. But I'll leave it to your imagination whether it's really made in Italy. I have questions. Or maybe they have a factory in Italy and it doesn't really operate to the same standards as a lot of the more traditional Italian factories. I'm sure that the acetate is Matsuda, which is an Italian acid. But look at the temple arms. Let me show you the difference. These are the Masunagas. This is why this is related to a Masunaga review. Look at this. They're straight. I want to show you a few other things too. This is my other pair of Masunagas. Let's look at the temple arms. What? That's Japanese quality right there. That's Japanese hand craftsmanship. This is another pair of Masunaga 100s. This is the olive colorway. But the temple arms, the hinges, the angle of the temple, it doesn't go out or do anything wonky like you just saw with the Versace's. It's just straight as an arrow, Japanese precision. Now I have had these adjusted. The ones I have on my face, I don't have them adjusted. Notice they kind of lean a little bit to one side. I have to get that fixed just because everyone's face is different. It's asymmetrical. One of your ears is slightly higher than the other one. I know you don't want to hear that, but that's true for every human being on the planet, which is why an optician has to adjust it. These have been adjusted. You'll notice that these sit straight. And you know, this is pretty much straight out of the box. This is almost straight out of the box. Very small adjustments were made to these. What I want you to understand is one pair of these buys you 2 pairs of these with superior craftsmanship. 10 years from now, that shine that you see on these glasses will look exactly like that. 20 years from now. These, on the other hand, it's not Japanese acetate. It uses 70% plasticizer, which is a petroleum-based product, which is why it doesn't feel organic on the skin. Whereas these use about 23% plasticizer, the least amount that they can get away with. And most of it is made from a cotton extrusion-based acetate. And they don't polish these. There are a whole lot of differences in the process that went into making these as making these. When you look at these 10 years from now, or even 5 years from now, that shine will be gone. These are glasses that are made to be thrown away. Luxottica has the audacity to still charge you nearly $1,000 for glasses like these. What are you buying? Clearly you're not buying the quality. That's what you're buying right there. See the name Versace? Everybody knows Versace, supposedly a quality name. Luxottica licenses that name. It's a question in my mind how much Versace even had to do with the design of these, but you know, who knows? Maybe they did design them, fine. But the quality, now back to Japanese handmade eyewear. I mean, you can see the difference. You can feel the difference. My wife put these on after putting on the Versace's and remarked how soft these feel on your face because of the cotton extrusion, 50% less plasticizer used, and a polishing process that's 4 months long instead of a few weeks long, as they would be as an example with the Versace's. Now I'm going to show you something else. And you're going to see that you're smarter already. Watch this. These are T Henri's, T Henri Daytonas to be specific. This is number 148 of 149 that were ever made. I'm just showing this to you. I'm showing you the hinges. Can you guess where these are made? I'll give you a hint. They're designed in Boca Raton, Florida by Tyler Henry. But where are they actually made? That's right. they're handmade in Japan by master craftsmen that more than likely apprenticed at Masunaga, the ones that I just showed you. Japanese handcrafted eyewear. Look at that. Now, you can buy 2 of these for 1 pair of Versace's. And you can buy, okay, yeah, that's not a good conversation because these are probably a little more expensive than the Versace's. But in any case, don't they look amazing? But you can tell handcrafted eyewear, first glance, first touch, you already know. Oh, by the way, here's the case they give you, not the cheap plastic case that Versace gives you. And by the way, they didn't even give me the courtesy to give me a cleaning cloth. Here's the cleaning cloth for T Henri. Never actually unfolded this before, so you guys are the first to see this. Boom, now that's a cleaning cloth. It's made of satin, and it is very, very soft. It's also very, very heavy, definitely made from quality material, and the design on it is just fantastic. So I get a cleaning cloth with T Henri. I get a really nice one with Masunaga too. I'll show you that in a second. I'm going to show you another pair since we're having the same conversation. By the way, here is the cloth from Masunaga, and it feels very, very nice. A microfiber cloth. It has in gold lettering, Masunaga 1905. Here's the box. Gold lettering that is gold. Now I'm going to show you another pair, and we're going to play a game. I'll tell you the designer. This is Leisure Society, Merano. These are designed by Shane Baum out of Costa Mesa, California. I'm going to put them on. Okay, now we're going to play the game. Where are these made? That's right, Japanese craftsmen made these glasses. So these are made by hand in Japan by the same master craftsman that more than likely apprenticed at Masunaga in Sabae, Fukui, Japan, where 97% of all handmade Japanese eyewear is made. And you can see the difference, you can feel the difference, and then the complexity, the intricate detail on the core wire. Who can do that? Can you send that to a Chinese factory? Can they do that? No. They can't. They can't even begin to do that. I would argue that Italian factories would have quite a challenge trying to reach this level of finish. And that is, by the way, a laminate clear acetate window. So it's basically like a 2-layer acetate there of 2 different colors. So there's some complexity there. You also see that things are screwed together rather than glued. If the stuff is glued together, you know it's made in China. But this is more of a constructionist mindset. So everything is riveted, it's screwed. These are torque screws, and you can actually undo these. You can take these apart. You can replace the hinge if you needed to. Try that with something that's made in China. They're glued together, and you basically throw them away when the hinge stops working, especially the spring hinges. I think you've heard me rant about spring hinges from Luxottica. But in any case, so that's handmade. You can tell at first touch, you can tell by looking, you can tell by the feel, you can tell by the fit that these are handcrafted Japanese eyewear, even though they were designed in Costa Mesa, California. So one thing I did with the Versace's is I put a sapphire Gen S transition. So I like the way these look. I just need to get the arms straightened out. Another thing about eyewear that's made in Italy, is that because they use so much plasticizer, the plastic is very soft. So it's very easy to heat this up a little bit, and then all of a sudden it just bends, and sometimes it bends too much. Another thing that happens is right here in the frame front will bend. Now that's not something that you want to happen because the lenses are designed for this panoscopic tilt, which in this case is 7 degrees. I'm eyeballing it. It's designed for this panoscopic tilt. If this twists or changes, and I can almost twist it in my hands, I'll be honest, it's not too bad. The hinges aren't too bad. There's some good things about this. We'll talk about that in another review. But you don't want the thing to twist, because if you twist, you can't see correctly anymore. Now let's go back to the Masunagas for comparison. This is the olive colorway that I was talking about before. Now, if you look at this, it's very difficult to tilt them. If you try to do it, these feel much, much stiffer. That's because of the lower amount of moisture and the lower amount of plasticizer that's used. Another thing that does, partly because of the polishing process and partly because of the long process they have for drying out the acetate so that all the solvents are gone and all but 2% of the moisture is gone before they even begin to make them as glasses. They lose very, very little moisture even after 10 or 20 years, which is why they still are going to look the same as they do right now 10 or 20 years from now. Almost like an heirloom. You don't want to buy glasses and throw them away. That's what Luxottica wants you to do, because then you buy more glasses and they spend a few dollars to make them and they charge you $700-800 so you can impress your friends with the name. Versace, Dolce & Gabbana, all of the brands that you've heard of before, whose names are licensed to Luxottica. When they do the lettering is actually gold. The core wire is titanium, it's not stainless steel. So the materials, the workmanship, the craftsmanship are far superior than Matsunaga's. And these cost half of what the Versace's cost. And they don't even give you a cleaning cloth. So that's my rant for the day. That's it. Thank you for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.